All right, there we go. We are alive. Okay, what's up, everyone? Just want to drop in here real quick and let you know that it is June 4th, 2026, and we are still doing deals, wholesaling real estate, doing novations. And I just had a wholesale deal to close a few days ago, and it was a bankruptcy deal. Yes, it was an active bankruptcy. As a matter of fact, I helped to put the property into bankruptcy. And it was a challenge trying to close on the deal because the bankruptcy acts as protection against all creditors. But also at the same time, you cannot buy or sell a property in bankruptcy because it is completely covered and sheltered and protected by this federal shield. That's what I call bankruptcy. It's a federal shield. And so you can wholesale bankruptcies. It's all about having the right attorney that can work with the federal judge, whichever region and district that you're in, to get an order submitted and the order be worded correctly, okay? And you can get the bankruptcy stay removed off the property. Now, what was so intriguing about this particular deal was that this property wasn't just in bankruptcy for years. I've wholesaled bankruptcies before. Those properties, those owners were in active bankruptcy for like 2 years, 3 years, right? And when I talked to those motivated sellers, they were in active bankruptcy. The bankruptcy was active. And I was able to get the property out of the bankruptcy for sale while everything else that they owed to their creditors stayed in the bankruptcy. And it's all about having the right attorney. I've heard stories about investors, wholesalers, self filing bankruptcies for these property owners, and they kind of get into a little trouble because they're kind of someone looking like someone who is giving legal advice. And this is not that as well. This is not legal advice. Whatever you decide to do, make sure you consult with an attorney, with the right person that can legally guide you in the right way. I'm just only speaking from experience and what I did to get this deal across the table for myself and for the buyer and for the seller who really needed to sell. So I got this deal in Galena Park, door knocking pre foreclosures. I came across this lead. It was headed to the auction in probably about maybe less than 30 days, maybe around 25 days from the time I met the owner and got the property under contract, tried to novate it, got the buyer under contract and everything. So we are preparing to close on the deal. Some miscellaneous lien pops up out of nowhere and it delayed the closing. We were trying to get the payoff for it. Auctions coming up and we were not able to close on the deal in time. So what do you do in this situation? The seller was on board with self-filing bankruptcy. And obviously we told her to consult with an attorney before they did this. And she went down to the courthouse and self-filed bankruptcy. By the way, you can file bankruptcy for someone. You can also hire a courier to go down there and self-file bankruptcy for someone. They don't have to do it themselves. So I'm learning something new every year. That is correct. You can hire a courier to go down there and self-file the bankruptcy. And you as the wholesaler, investor, or person assisting can pay the courier for the seller and you can get those funds back at closing and etc. Now, we put the property in bankruptcy and we stopped the foreclosure, gave the bankruptcy, what do you call it? Gave the bankruptcy document with the actual case number stating that they are going into bankruptcy. And you give that over to the trustee of the foreclosure and they have no choice but to stop the property from going to auction and take it off the auction board. Now, we're talking about this property not even being 30 days in bankruptcy. So obviously I still tried to close on it after filing the self-filing the bankruptcy. And of course the title company said, no, we cannot close because the property is in bankruptcy. And as a matter of fact, Majority of the time, all the proceeds of the sale have to go to the creditors, and then it goes over to the trustee. None of the money goes to the debtor, which is the seller. And so you're not supposed to pay these people money out of closing. It's all like, it's crazy, right? So this is what you have to do. You have to have an attorney. Do not try to wholesale a property in bankruptcy without having a seasoned bankruptcy real estate attorney. That is the key when you are trying to wholesale bankruptcies or buy a property for a fix and flip for yourself that you're not wholesaling. The attorney, the attorney, the attorney is the most important thing. Relationships matter. Okay, so you have to have a well qualified attorney that can get this done for you, and let your attorney know what's going on. Hey, I have a contract that I can assign or close on. I have a buyer under contract with earnest money down at the title company. And that's what you got to do as well. Make sure before you go to try to wholesale this deal and before you get the bankruptcy stay removed, make sure you have your cash buyer under contract with earnest money down before you go and remove the stay. And make sure that buyer has their LLC documents given to the title company and the title company has approved them as a buyer. Make sure they are good to go and communicate with the buyer and let them know what's going on. And if you can't get the bankruptcy stay removed, you will refund them their EMD and have that in the assignment contract. Have this stuff down to the T, okay? Be professional about it. You cannot just be dragging when you're doing this. You have to do this the right way, okay? Now, when you get that attorney, you want to let the attorney know, hey, because most title companies, most of them, they will not allow the bankruptcy to be assigned. Here's another thing. The title company matters. Same way with novations. Every title company is not going to do wholesale deals. Now, some of the title companies will do wholesale deals, but guess what? The title companies that will do a wholesale deal, they won't do novations, right? So you have to find an investor-friendly title company, okay? Very important. And I'm slowing down here because I want to be very clear. And no, I don't have a slurred speech. I'm not inebriated. I am talking so that you can understand me. And now I want to say this on another level. Just because a title company does novation does not mean that they are going to allow you to wholesale a bankruptcy, okay? And so there's a delay. So also, the reason why it sounds crazy and why I'm talking like this, because I'm talking to myself and it's like replaying in my ear. And so it's like I'm trying to slow down to hear myself. So it's like delayed. So it's just throwing me off right now. So no, I'm not talking crazy or have a speech impediment. It's just how the audio is coming into my ear. Maybe I need to put this another play again right here. Okay, that may help out. All right. So anyway, find a title company. See, I'm doing it right now. That's crazy. All right. So find a title company that is okay with wholesaling bankruptcies. They will tell you, no, we don't do it. Some will say it all depends on the judge's order. So I want to just make sure I'm making this very clear. The most important thing is having a real estate attorney on your team that knows how to deal with bankruptcies and removing them. There are so many real estate and bankruptcy attorneys in your city. Call, figure out. Number two, make sure you are working with an investor-friendly title company that will allow you to assign the contract that you're trying to wholesale in bankruptcy, okay? Before you even start doing this stuff. Because if you get that bankruptcy order stay removed and the title company says, we're not going to allow this, don't even try it, okay? So make sure you have a title company that can get it done. And number three, the order that the judge submits and approves to release the property out of bankruptcy, that is the most important thing. It's all about the wording and the release, okay? You want the wording to say like all debts and liens, mostly liens. What it is, you want it to say all liens on the property shall be paid in full with the proceeds from the sale, and whatever is left over, the net proceeds may go to the debtor, which is the property owner. Okay? And so that's very important. You want to have that in there because that way, that's going to allow the homeowner to get money after the property is sold and wholesale. But if you don't have it in the wording that the debtor, homeowner, borrower is allowed to receive funds after the sale, they're going to automatically send that money straight to the bankruptcy trustee and the seller gets nothing. And then if you have a contract at a certain price, then now what it looks like is all that money in the green could have been more money for your assignment fee. So before you even submit that order to the bankruptcy, you want to make sure you know you have the exact penny amount for every payoff on the property, from mortgages, down payment assistance, any other liens. You know the total debt on the property once you open up that title commitment. And once you get all the payoffs in, what you want to do is send in a contract amendment. And you're going to probably come down on that price and let the property owner know, hey, you're not going to be able to walk away with any net proceeds from the HUD, but we're going to take care of that another way. But what that is, I won't say, but I'm going to let your imagination know what I'm talking about. You make that contract adjustment to where when that property is closed, the actual sale price between you and the seller is right at the debt's due. And you have a greater contract with the buyer. And again, this slurred stuff is because it's just delayed in my mind right now because of the audio. It's crazy. I should do this video over, but it's great information I'm giving right now. All right, so you want to have that assignment of contract higher, obviously. And all of that green is going to come to you, and you work out things with the property owner. All right? That's how you wholesale a bankruptcy. So make sure you have all the debts due, mortgage, any outstanding liens, down payment assistance, any other liens, have all the debts on the property, knowing what they are at the penny amount. And you want to almost contract to offer to buy the property right at that number. Now, of course, you may not know what it all would be once you first contract, but you kind of want to be around that number. And you can always kind of adjust. Slow down. Do not submit the order to the bankruptcy for release. Slow down. Don't do it. Just wait. You want to make sure you got title commitment back. You want to make sure you know what all the debts are, all the liens are. You want to make sure you got a buyer with EMD down and they're good to close. You want to make sure you have a title company that is going to allow you to assign this contract in the bankruptcy. It's very huge. It's very huge. It's very huge, okay? And then number 4 is you want to make sure that the order of the bankruptcy, whatever that judge approves, the wording is so important. And the reason why title companies have an issue with doing a wholesale deal on a bankruptcy is because your attorney is going to submit your wholesale contract in, and you're going to be the buyer. So when they give the order to sell, they're going to have you as the buyer. But your contract says and or assign, but they're not going to have and or assign on the bankruptcy order to sell. It's going to have your LLC or your name. But your contract has your LLC or your name, and it has and or assign. That's the pickle. That's the conundrum here. Because if it has and or assign in the order to sell, then you can just do this wholesale bankruptcy at any title company that allows wholesale deals. That's where a lot of title companies have the issue, is because there is no and or a sign in the order to sell for the bankruptcy. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So you got to work with a title company that would allow you to assign it, even though your contract says and or assign, but the order to sell and the bankruptcy just has your name or your LLC name with no and or assign. Okay, that's the big thing here. Okay, so pay attention to what I'm saying. And so, and then also the wording stating that the debtor, which is the borrower, which is the homeowner, can get proceeds. Well, the remaining proceeds from the sale can go to them after all liens are paid and mortgages on the house are paid. All right. And that's how you wholesale a bankruptcy. And it's 2026. I'm still doing bankruptcy deals and I'm going to be marketing to more. Hopefully this video was helpful. I know I was kind of scrambling around. I can really organize this for you guys, but I just want to get it out there and let you know you can wholesale a bankruptcy. You just got to know what you're doing. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.